You ever wonder why they're called gun guns? Don't you think they should just be called, like, blue balls or something? They don't even shoot a gun, man. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today we're going to rank the Omicrons, and there's a lot of new ones from all the Naboo stuff. We're at a really great point to just stop, and the character release cycle is about to ramp up for a bunch of new crazy content, which is fine, but we're in a great place to be able to rank these ones. It's been about 4 months. I figure it's time for an update. You can find my infographic, folks, in my Discord server, which is linked in the video description. You go to the channel that says infographics, and it's in the same place as my Datacron infographics. This one I just released, and you can take a look at that. Be the hero that your guild almost certainly doesn't deserve, and you can drop both of these infographics there for free. They're available for free, and try to get people to like and subscribe and comment on my videos, folks. If you're doing that with your guild, tell them where that's from. Come hang out on my Discord server. It's pretty big at this point, which is what someone said, I'm sure. So huge shout out to my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all your support, guys. And if you want to support this channel for free, folks, all you gotta do is hit that thumbs up button. Like, subscribe, comment. Let's mount the algorithm, folks. It's not gonna mount itself. Do it before the algorithm mounts you. Frankly, you've been warned. Let's get to it, though, folks. Let's talk about this infographic. So the thing I want to point out here, before we look at it in like more in depth, there's a little key at the bottom left corner, and it just has the different color coding. Typically, everyone's going to be ringed in the white color, which means nothing. It's just neutral. But the blue rings signify characters in the GAC section that I would recommend new players apply as one of their first Omicrons. And actually, I think that I have 6 of them. I should have edited that. That's my bad. But you can find those ones in the GAC section. I won't presume to think what your priorities are for the Territory War section. So those are just GAC ones. And then the green ones are all the new characters that were released since the last infographic came out. So like for the last 4 months, we've been getting all these Naboo releases, and now we get to rank all of these things. I can't believe, man, they're all light side. Every single one of them's light side. We didn't get any dark side Naboo anything, and we didn't get any of the cool ships for Naboo either. I'm kind of bummed out. Anyways, then the yellow is just, it's the ring of shame, man. It means that I'm not gonna judge you, and do what you want with the Omicron. This is just my evaluation of what I think the rankings should be for these things and the level of priorities. Of course, your rankings for yourself and whatever you do for territory wars, whatever your guild wants you to do, do what you want. This is just my evaluation of their various levels of strength as compared to the rest of the field. And so, the ring of shame, though, don't apply them, probably, guys, unless you want to be crazy. If you're attention seeking, I guess that's just what you should do. But anyways, the ones with purple have some kind of big caveat. It's like, okay, you can apply them at this level, but there's always like a but. There's always another but, man. Gross, but it's true. And but there's always a reason to. It's like, okay, you can apply this. However, there's not a reason that you shouldn't apply this without consulting my list of buts, which is right next to, it's right in the box right next to the little key thing. So, all right, we've talked about this for 4 whole minutes, guys. Oh my gosh. Let's get going. So let's talk about the Grand Arena right now rankings. And we're not going to spend a huge amount of, as we add more Omicrons, folks, we can't talk about every single one, though I am going to take a little more time just for the top ranks, just because nothing's really changed, but it's like, okay, the Malgus one, the leadership one, it is just it's really good. It's really good. You should apply that immediately. These aren't necessarily ranked in order, folks, of like, okay, the Malgus one is better than the Star Killer, is better than Ben. That's not how we're doing it. It's just the order of ones that I happened to put in the box. They're all approximately equal, guys. You should all get them immediately if you don't have them right now. So the Malgus one, very important. That's probably the only one you really need with him. Though the other ones are okay. We'll talk about those in a little bit. Star Killer is unique. The other two are okay, like the throwing the tire one is fine, and the mass dispel is actually really strong. But you can't operate a Star Killer team without his unique, at least not in GAC. You really, really need it, so apply that one. The Ben one is the one that is super annoying, and he keeps reviving as Ray. Like if you don't kill Ray in the time that you've also killed him, he'll just keep reviving, and it's obnoxious. Of course, now everyone's using Malicos to kill that squad, and that Datacron, that Omicron, maybe getting demoted at some point. The Qui-Gon one, now it's not as strong as it used to be in the current GAC cycle. I mean, depending on Datacrons and all of that, but the Qui-Gon one, however, it is very, very strong early game and mid game, and even end game. You get to use it on offense quite a bit. It's still a very strong Datacron or Omicron. Cron, we'll just say Cron. That's why it's circled in blue. It has a lot of relevance early game, even late game though it's strong. Same with Treya, except Treya is strong all the way to the end game. From start to end, you're going to want Treya. It's one of those core, basic, foundational, really strong Omicrons and characters. You're going to want Treya. Trust me on that one. Just trust me, guys. I know I'm not the sole arbiter of truth, by the way. If you disagree with me, respectfully discuss in the comments. I would love to hear your comments. I learn a lot from you guys. Wampa is another one that, man, I love Wampa. I really do. And the Omicron form is really good, and I really hope that one day we get some kind of a boost for it. But early game, Wampa is so money. Only if you have the Omicron, though. That's the only reason you want to use the Wampa, even early game. But it's a really strong Omicron, especially early and mid game. Late game, the people make it so that you can't really use Wampa too often, sadly. Savage, this is the new change, guys. I recently removed Dash from the starting list of GAC Omicrons, guys, and I've circled Savage. Now, we've gone our rounds about Savage, and it's a really strong Omicron, guys. And early game, you can solo things. You don't even have to use him in conjunction with Treya, though that's kind of what you eventually merge into. You're going to fall into Savage being used alongside Treya, which is fine. That's really good. But early game, Treya doesn't need Savage. Savage can just go solo something himself and get you some good banners. So you can do that. The Reva one, I don't know why you wouldn't want to apply. Her leadership one in GAC, she's the very obvious choice as lead. And she's just, I mean, the team is really good anyways. You hear me singing the praises of Inquisition. I sound like a fascist, don't I, guys? Singing the praise of the Inquisition from the rooftops. However, because I don't want them to lynch me, but also because they just do a lot of good stuff. And in GAC, the fact that you get death marks applied passively through her leadership is just bonkers and amazing. And let's see, Bane, this is the one that it's rule of 2. It's the one that activates all the cool stuff. Highly recommended. Darth Bane is an amazing transcendent character that kills most teams, including most Galactic Legends. You should absolutely be working on Bane if you haven't already, and even though his Datacron is about to leave, he's still going to kill a whole bunch of amazing things. So, highly recommend that you work on Bane, and then you get this Omicron in particular. The other ones are good. And then finally, guys, we have a new one here, Queen Amidala's. Well, this isn't her lead, and her special is decent. This is the one that lets you summon your decoy character, which is really good. It also gives a bunch of mastery. It gives a bunch of cool stats. It makes it so you can't be feared. It gives tons of buffs to your team, and it's already a really strong team, guys. I know the Datacrons make it even better, but it's going to end up being really, really good. Hold on, my phone keeps chiming. 1 second. Man, I am in demand. What can I say? So, all right, Queen Amidala, her unique, amazing, and I love that it's a unique because at some point we're going to want to use her, maybe not as the lead, and it's still gonna work because her lead is nice, but the unique is good on its own. So definitely something you want to be looking at. That's the #1 cron for her, and the squad's going to be really good. I think it deserves to be applied immediately once you get her. The other ones up for debate, and I'll show you where those are placed in just a moment. Whoa, look at that. It's slid down on its own. Now, I can't go through all of these guys. It's just, there's too many. One thing that I did do, I added Malicos 3rd Omicron to this list. Instead of having it be in the group below, I did add the 3rd one. You need to apply the 2 uniques first, and I don't really care which order, but those 2 are more important. The 3rd one, however, adds an enormous amount of damage, and if you're serious about using him as a counter to Galactic Legends, to really tough A teams, like right now, there's not a better team out there that consistently beats them without using a Datacron. It beats all the Datacron Galactic Legend teams, from, the Ray stuff, the Supreme Leader Kylo stuff. Like it just kills everything, guys. It's amazing. And if you're serious about it, you're already investing 3 Omicrons with Seer and the 2 Malicos uniques. I think you should be applying the 3rd Omicron as well. Dear Lord, it's tough for me to spit that out, but you should be applying that one as well. If you're already investing 3, you should invest the 4th one. I know I'm using the word should instead of I think you should. I advise that you do this. I'm getting judgy, and I think you should do that. Now, oh man, okay. So Chrysanthemum is colored yellow because I was messing with my settings on hold on a second. Okay, I fixed it. I was messing with Photoshop stuff, settings, and it should be big purple one. But anyways, yeah, so Chrysanthemum, it's the caveat of it gives you a bunch of protection, but you're not going to be able to use it as well unless you have him at like relic 8 or 9. So don't apply that unless you have him at relic 8 or 9, in my opinion. And also you probably want him to go with Jabba because that's what he does. He does really good job of backing up Jabba. Now I took Dash off of my starting Omicron list and it makes me sad, but it's very tough for me to say, okay, you get, because Dash comes with kind of an implication that you're also farming and gearing up Vander Chewie, and I'm just not sure if early game that's going to be the most amazing strategy anymore. I'm not sure. I still think it's a very strong Omicron, especially early game, but I understand if you don't want to do it. I did add the Omicron on the blue circle onto Krex, because his Omicron, you're going to be working on Phoenix anyways, right? Like that's an early game team that you're going to be working on. He's going to be Relic 7 eventually anyways for your Leia unlock and everything. And so he's already going to have high gear. He's going to be on a good team that's already developed. You should probably apply the Omicron early game because it's a really strong team early game anyways. Very, very worthwhile. Now, I put the 3 Jar Jar crons on here because, man, they're all pretty good. They are all really good. I put them in order. This is the only time that my placement of them, of any of the Omicrons, is in fact the order in which you should apply them. You should apply them in the order that I've shown because that's the order in which they're better. Jar Jar, you don't really want to miss out on any of them, folks. All of them are pretty good. If you're serious about running the team in GAC, I guess the biggest caveat, guys, and the reason they're just on the 2nd tier is we don't really know how gun guns are going to end up being. in GAC, especially on defense. On offense, they probably do a lot of cool stuff, but the Jar Jar one that you should apply first is the one that lets you get him to Relic 9, which obviously is kind of frustrating, but it's good in the sense that it also gives you more stacks of your shield generator, which is obviously something you want to have. And the other two are fine. They do good things for your team. And I mean, we could go really in depth on it, but at the end of the day, they're all three worthwhile. I think you should apply them in the order that I've showing you. But you know, do what you want, I suppose. The Queen Amidala one, this one is her special, and it does some cool stuff. However, yeah, her lead is just kind of whatever. You don't need it. It's fine. It's nothing bad. Her special does some cool stuff. Of note, it's going to increase your opponent's, so it's an AoE that hits the whole team, obviously, and then it applies all kinds of debuffs, and then it also ignores protection. I don't think it really hits that hard, as far as I've observed. I don't think it does that much damage, but it does also increase their cooldowns, which is really nice to be able to do that. We see more and more of that these days, in fact. So, anyways, this is a good bunch of Omicrons to apply. You can see Bo-Katan Mandalore has two of hers. One of them is her lead. It's a little bit better than the one that lets you ignore taunt. Both of them are fairly strong, however, folks, and I almost think the Bo-Katan one should be moved to the top. The leadership should be moved to the top, but we'll see. Let's just wait for a few more reps. Maybe that one will be our next promotion. You never know. Alright, next up we have the next set. So someone recently said, hey, you don't have a Saj on your list, and I couldn't see it either, but apparently she is still on this list. She's just been in the top left of this box for a while, and the Asajj Omicron, man, so Night Sisters keep going in and out of the meta. I think that they're going to get kind of a big boost coming up here. I'm very interested to see what the new releases are going to do for Night Sisters. However, I put Marin in the rank above as a new player should apply this Omicron thing. I don't think Asajj's is quite that good, though it's really nice. Night Sisters really don't want people to heal, because the plague goes away if they heal all the way, right? So it's nice if you can stop that. Asajj with her AoE, with her Omicron, stops people from healing. It's a healing immune that's as an AoE. It's really strong for specifically that group, and therefore it is a pretty nice Omicron, but the relative value of Night Sisters keeps shifting, and I'm not sure that it's super worth it. So anyways, Asajj, it is nice to have. You don't absolutely need it. You know, the Iden one is really good. Again, guys, we're not going to be discussing all of these because, frankly, they're all we've talked about them before, and we have bigger fish to fry. But you know, the Iden one is pretty good. I don't know if it's going to end up being. I mean, she just hasn't aged well. I'm sorry to say. In a world that CG just adds like 3 new teams every few months, she just hasn't done, like, she's just not doing that much these days. Yeah, she can still do some cool stuff, and she can be very impressive in individual specific circumstances, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good one to apply overall. The Saw one I'm very interested to see too. Once we get our new Conquest character, what's his name? Lotion? I don't remember. Anyways, he'll be coming out soon. Saw might end up really wanting this Omicron way more than usual, but the team is just not ranked super high in the greater scheme of things yet until Mr. Lotion comes out. Queen Amidala, I guess, wants her leadership. I would say mostly just skip this. It's not like that it sucks, it's not that good. Stap is one that I could see upgrading depending on how useful the team is. Now that the General Grievous the Stap Datacron is gone, we'll get to actually evaluate how useful that team is. I'm very interested to see. I loved that Kron, that Datacron, while it was here. I'm hoping the Omicron is stronger, though. It's strong enough to continue to keep that team relevant. Now, let's not spend much time on the not super guys. The Bane one, You really don't need that. It just adds a little bit of ultimate charge, and he's almost never going to be used. I guess in... Well, it doesn't even matter, because I was going to say, you can use him in Territory Wars so that you don't, like, drop a banner or whatever, so that, you know, you can use him with a Galactic Legend so that you don't drop banners, but if that's the case, he's in Territory Wars and can't use his GAC Omicrons anyway, so it's just not that good. I actually heard that Talon got some kind of an update on her Omicron, maybe just a wording update to make it more clear. I need to go and read that. Now that I'm looking at this, maybe she'll get an update. I don't know. Maybe it's actually better. These are all not very good, folks. The Tuscan Raider one, the Tuscan Chieftain, is not a good one. Unfortunately, not a good one, because I think it's 3v3 only, and you want to use the Tuscan Raider Omicron instead. That's significantly stronger, and it's only 3v3 anyways. It's not that these are terrible, it's just, guys, especially though, please avoid the Chirpa one. If you're early game, you just end up not using your Ewoks very much, and you need your Omicrons for so many more things. So I would advise not doing that. Alright, whoa, Territory Wars. So, Trench, pretty good, obviously. Maybe not, maybe it's not obvious. It's really good though, guys. There's just not another zone that you can put out there that makes people drop as many banners as this. People just don't like dealing with Trent. They don't know how to deal with him. He just keeps stealing banners, and in large part it's due to his Omicron. This one is, I believe, his lead, though his other ones are really good too. Honestly, the other ones are solid. Juhani, did you know that's Juhani and then Mara Jade? Those are the two most applied Territory War Omicrons, and that's good. That's as it should be. They're very, very strong. Juhani makes it so the Stir Killer is usable, and you know, in Territory Wars, and she's really good there. She found her niche. Good job, CG. And Kellerin Beck, man, his Omicron is really good. I'm waiting to see, folks. I mean, we're getting to the point right now. So one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that the people who do plan Territory Wars at the very top level think of things in terms of the top 16 teams. So is the Kellerin Beck lead Datacron or Omicron, sorry, going to end up like with that team? Is that going to end up in the top 16? We're adding another Galactic Legend at the end of the year. We're going to have 9 Galactic Legends all in the top 16. Does Kellerin Beck stay in there? I don't really know. Does Trench? Does anyone? Are we just going to use Galactic Legends forever moving forward? CG needs to somehow update those things. But before it's just GAC, it's not GAC, before it's Galactic Legend Palooza. It's very frustrating. Okay, so Embo, you should apply that one if you have Jabba. If you don't have Jabba, I know people are like, dude, the Embo one is still really good if you just put him with like bounty hunters and you can do some cool stuff in Territory Wars. Again, I say it's probably not bad. I would guess it's probably fine with bounty hunters. However, how often do you use bounty hunters in the top 16? Like in the greater scheme of things, you want to use Embo with Jabba, and if you don't use him with Jabba, then I don't know, it's just a weird situation. So the Fulcrum Ahsoka one, that one is really good early game. Later game, you're gonna want it with Cal, Jedi or Baby Cal, and his Omicron, which is expensive. It's a lot of investment, but it ends up being fairly good. And then you have the Grand Inquisitor one that. It's not his lead. His lead used to be the number 1, but now that we have Reva, we typically want to use Reva lead anyways, so that Omicron's wasted. Instead, this is the one that auto-kills one Jedi at the very start of the round. Pretty useful, considering a ton of different Jedi teams can continue to be very, very relevant in Territory Wars and other places. Alright, the next level of Territory War Omicrons, both of these Dark Trooper Moff Gideon ones are good. I think his lead ends up edging out his other one fairly significantly, but they're both pretty good. The Mace Windu one, they keep coming out with new Jedi teams that he's pretty good with. I mean, it's a really good Omicron. It's just it's such a support Omicron. That's the thing. Like, you don't build a team around the Mace Omicron. You just have him go with that team to make it overpowered. So, yeah, he's good, but a lot of times the teams are like, yeah, it still works without him. I don't know what to say. The Hera one, you really need Krex to be able to do this, and yeah, you can go read the purple font, or the font at the bottom for the big caveat. Now, these two new ones, guys, Boss Nass, I'm very curious to see, because all the big guilds that have Jar Jar already have applied the Boss Nass one. Does that mean that it's really good? Or does it just mean that it's a whale guild because they've already, and they're like, oh, well, it's worth it to just have 4 months of really strong dominance with this team while the Datacron is out? I'm not really sure. I don't have the right answers for you. I do know that the fact that a ton of guilds, a ton of the really big guilds that have all the guns, like everyone's applying it, it seems promising. This one is one that could easily be demoted next time, but I do think it looks decent. The Qui-Gon one, the Master Qui-Gon one, looks very strong, frankly. I don't, Queen Amidala won't have her Omicrons, obviously, because they're GAC. Will the Master Qui-Gon one work? Work to replace it and make the team really vibrant and strong? It looks like it. It looks... On paper, it looks stronger than the Gun one. Again, we're just in kind of this weird, uncertain time, because right now, the only people who are playing it are the people who have a lot of, they spend money on the game, and so they buy Omicrons, and they're like, yeah, it's worth it to buy 4 months of advantage because the whole guild's going to have it. A lot of people are applying this one, though, guys. It looks, I think more people have applied the Qui-Gon one than the Jar Jar, or than the Boss Nass one. I'll have to check on that. I'm not sure if that's true. Both of them have had a surprising amount of people applying them, though. So do as you will with that. I do think that they both look really good. I think the Master Qui-Gon one has the potential to hang on for a little bit longer than the Gungan one, but I could be wrong. That one's, these are big question marks, guys. No one has the answers. Alright, Vogue. I demoted Sidious because I'm arbitrary, and I didn't have another space to put him, to keep him on the top, and I just think, I know that a lot of bigger guilds are like, dude, you need him for various Sith teams. I mean, okay. Did you really need him with all the other new stuff out? Maybe you do. Maybe you do. It's arbitrary, like I said, but I do think I just hate him a lot. After the last Datacron set, let's just be vindictive for a minute and demote someone that you really just don't like, shall we? Seems like a good idea to me. Okay, PvE, the thing we've all been waiting for. There's so many new PvE characters with Omicrons, it's crazy. First off, the Phalanx, it only costs 10 Omicrons, guys. If you get in on it now, you can get a max 4-person. You only have to use 4 Gungans. You don't have to even unlock Jar Jar. If you have them at Relic 8, you can get a 27 or 2.7 million if you apply this Omicron. It's only 10 Omicron mats. It's not 20. Yes, eventually the Naboo raid will go away and this will plummet and be awful, but you only have to spend 10. CG listened to us, made us only have to apply 10. Very worthwhile. I think that this is something I'm going to apply on at least my 2 bigger accounts. My smaller account that may not have Gungans ready in time for the raid may not, but I'm still farming, so I may end up doing it. It's, if you have Gungans, though, this is a no-brainer as of right now. All right, guys, and then we have Kyle Katarn and Cal Kestis as the 2 leading contestants for a couple Omicrons. I mean, I wouldn't really do it, frankly, but Kyle Katarn can be used on a ton of different teams. He can be used with Jedi. He can be used with Rebel fighters. He can be used with whoever you want to use him for. Extremely versatile character. Does a lot of really cool stuff for his team. Really like that Omicron. If you just happen to have the luxury, almost all the PvE ones, I would recommend just not applying at all, almost. But if you have to, that's a really good one. The Jedi Cal Kestis one also makes the mission really easy to be able to unlock Zepho. That's really good. It does some cool stuff. He can be used from in all tiers of Rise of the Empire as well. I hesitate to say any of these are worth the while, guys. But in the context of PvE Datacrons or Omicrons, he's not terrible. All right, next up we have Captain Tarples. Now, he's in the next group, and frankly, guys, if we're moving to a point where we're getting all the guns to Relic 9, which I cringe to think, but if we do that, it might be kind of nice to just have a team that you can hit the auto button on phases 1 through 6 of Rise of the Empire and just ignore, like, just get a free win on every tier all the way including phase 6. I don't really know if he helps make that happen, but I've seen some cool stuff. Like, it looks like a fairly strong Datacron in that context, so I guess your mileage may vary, but it seems like it's okay. Now, the Powcron, that's just specifically for Conquest. It looks okay. The problem is you can only use it like 5 times in a row, and then once the stamina hits a certain point, it stops being useful. So you can't spam it. So if you're early game and you're like, man, I really need a crutch, I'm really glad I applied this because it looks kind of strong. You can only use it like 5 times, and then your team just stops being useful and you have to wait for a day. I don't see that as very useful, folks. Maybe to early game players, that's going to be awesome. Maybe. It doesn't seem like it's going to be worth the investment, folks. Here, and then let's just drag this down. And let me just say, so first off, we've demoted Scout Trooper to full censure mode, because the Scout Trooper should not be applied now at all. I don't think it should have ever been applied. I think it's been an awful investment that you only get a marginal amount of bonus damage for the Endor raid. However, now where no one should be doing the Endor raid at all, people should all be doing the Naboo raid, because that's where all the good rewards are, and this one is just awful and should never be used. We finally come to is that the Phalanx? The Boomadir? I don't remember which one is which, but the one that's for Galactic Challenges. Guys, Galactic Challenges exist to give you Omicrons. You would need to use this 10 times in situations where you would otherwise not get a single Omicron on these Galactic Challenges to recoup your losses. That's an amazingly absurd list of requirements to actually make good on your investment. Don't apply this one. It is stupid, and I can't believe CG has tried to make us so without increasing the number of Omicrons that we're getting. This is just the dumbest thing, and I would recommend never apply it. Just don't play CG's game. It's the dumbest thing. We used to joke about, what if they put a Galactic Challenge one? Like, it was like a joke. Like, they would never do something that stupid. And then they did, and they applied it to the new, hot, cool team that, frankly, has not needed to apply that one yet to be able to get the max reward. So, don't apply it. It's stupid. Don't apply it even if they decide to make it only 10. It's awful. What a stupid joke, man. Alright, that's it, folks. Let me know what your thoughts are. What did I miss? What do you disagree with? I would love to hear it. Honestly, would love to. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Zareth prevails. Take care, folks.